I'm going to call our county board meeting to order. If you'd please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Beth.
Sure. Commissioner Schlangen? Here. Commissioner Heinen?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Gopinski?
Here.
Commissioner Pop?
Here.
Right, move on to approval or amendments to the agenda. Monty, you have anything?
We have no changes.
Oh, okay.
Move for approval, Mr. Chair.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve our agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. County board meetings are broadcasted live and video recorded on YouTube. Please refrain from speaking from the audience area and come to the podium so that viewers can hear you. County board observes Robert's Rules of Order for its meetings, so please obtain the board chair's consent before addressing the county board. Public comments are generally reserved for the open forum segment or public hearings. However, public comment on other agenda items may be allowed at the discretion of the board chair. As we begin today, please turn off your cell phones or turn them to vibrate. Thank you. Open forum. We have anybody here for open forum? Who's on that list? Would you let us know?
Do we know him?
It's hard to read.
Let me see.
You should be used to that.
Thank you. Dwayne J. Walter.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman and fellow board members,
Good morning.
staff, and audience participants. First of all, again, I thank you guys for everything you're doing, the ladies too. It's a hard job. I've been there, so I know what you're going through. Some days you want to kind of tear your hair out and say, why did I do this? But you're doing a good job overall. I appreciate that. I'm here, again, on behalf of the American Legion, Fully American Legion, to give you a brief update on the Veterans Memorial out here. As I think I talked to you last year, we're going to put a sidewalk in coming from the south, going to the Veterans Memorial, but we have to wait till the city of Foley puts their walkway in. Once that walkway or bike trail, whatever it's called, then we've got a contractor lined up ready. We're going to pour that sidewalk, so that'll be done. I do have a request. A woman called me, maybe a month or so ago, and I talked to Mr. Headley about this. She wanted to plant a tree out there. And I said, well, we can't give you the permission, the Legion can't. It has to go through the county. And I had previously talked to Mr. Dingman about having shrubs out there. And he didn't absolutely say no. He had some concerns, and they're legitimate concerns about who's going to maintain the shrubs. Mowing might be a problem with this. And so we let the shrubs go by the wayside for now. Well, we had a meeting and we discussed about the shrubs again. And we decided that possibly, thank you, that possibly we could contract or talk to a 4-H club or a Boy Scout troop to maintain the shrubs. That way it'd be a win-win for them. We'd give them a little stipend for doing it. Plus it'd be taken care of. So I don't know where the shrubs are right now, that thing. My main request is about the trees. I told the lady, I said, I can't give her permission to put a tree out there. I would come to the county board to ask. The problem we all know on that is he opened the floodgates up. So again, we talked to a couple of my fellow colleagues, and they thought if we do trees, we would limit it to 6 trees. That would be 1 for each branch of the service. That's the most trees that would ever be planted out there. We were thinking about having them do sugar maples or something, that turns in the fall. They turn nice colors and everything. So that's what we're talking about. Monty suggested, Mr. Headley suggested, that we would draw a circle around the memorial and we'd have so many feet to plant stuff in. So Monty, maybe you got to help me out on this. I don't know how to do. I'm technologically challenged, so.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
You can see that. Let's see, on your right here, you can see above.
I would just say, the circle would probably go like around about there. In other words, it would.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't. Let's see. How can I show it for the board? I guess if you see my mouse, I guess you would say, you'd start the circle right here, and just kind of follow it around this direction. If you can kind of follow my mouse, generally in that direction, right?
Yeah, and what we were thinking about is the reason we did the 6 again for the 6 branches of service. We were going to put 3 on each side, 3 trees on each side of the memorial. So on the east and the west side, Cause I don't wanna, I mean, you know, I don't know how you guys feel, but ladies, that I wouldn't want a forest out there. Just 6 trees, I think, is adequate. They would have meaning. And because if we open it up and let people start planting trees in memory of their loved ones, where do you draw that line? So that's why we came up with 6, and we would just do that. So that's the request I have. The last one I have is information only. You may know this already, that we have a Memorial Day program on Memorial Day at the high school auditorium, open to the public. This year we're honored to have the chairman of the board be our keynote speaker. So again, if you're sitting at home, bored, nothing to do on Memorial Day, the program starts at 9:30. It's usually done by 10:30, 11 o'clock. So just an invitation to everybody here. Please come to the Memorial Day program. And after that, you're all invited up to the Legion to have pizza. So you can't go wrong on that either. So, but if you got any questions, I'll certainly try to answer them. I told the lady I would get back to her, you know, sometime about the trees. So. And I don't know if Mr. Dingman's here or not. He could certainly comment on the shrub situation.
I didn't see him online, was he?
No.
I don't know if he's on.
No.
You know, Mr. Chair, I know when Dwayne brought the idea of the memorial to the board a long time ago, there was discussion about having shrubs along
Mainly along the sidewalk.
the sidewalk.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think, you know, that concept was okay back then. I understand Jeff's concern, like, right, who's gonna trim the shrubs? But I think if the Legion can arrange for someone to do that, that's great. That's not won't be our issue. I think the general understanding all along was that, you know, the maintenance of the memorial itself would fall to the Legion.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mr. I think you all know him. If you don't, Pete Sweel, Mr. Pete Sweel owns a greenhouse, and he talked to me one day, and he says, "Are they ever going to do any shrubs or anything at the memorial?" And I said, It's been talked about, it's been discussed, but we haven't decided anything." Well, he said, "I'm certainly open to coming and doing something, design something." So, and I don't know if we have to go that far, but it'd be nice to have a few shrubs along the garden club. Before I forget, the Foley Garden Club does have, I think they've got 4 containers that last year they put actually on the sidewalk, so they can move them around if they have to. And they're going to do that again this year. The Foley Garden Club is going to do that. So there will be at least 4 containers out there.
Okay.
And again, they sit on the sidewalk. They don't sit on the grass.
So just for clarification, Dwayne, you're looking more towards shrubbery versus trees?
Well, I
got
guess,
trees.
yeah, we'd like to have both, you know.
Okay.
We best of all worlds is we like to get like 3 shrubs along each side of the sidewalk. And then, like I say, the most we would ever do on trees would be 6 trees.
Okay.
And that would be it. And I've only had one request for a tree, you know, so.
And I assume you'd plant them all 6 at the same time?
Yeah, that was my question.
Not as they were requested, right? You'd plant them all 6 at the same time?
I would think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Mr. Chair, I think it's a well thought out plan, and if Monty says we kind of approved shrubs before, I don't have a problem with that, so.
Well, I would certainly keep informed because we are going to contact, like I said, 4-H clubs and Boy Scout troops because we donate a lot of money to those groups.
Sure.
And we're willing to give them, again, a stipend for doing it, you know, so.
Okay.
Members, anything else? Consensus on that?
No.
I think it would look pretty nice.
I think it's a good idea.
Finish it off nice.
Yep.
It's
I
like-
agree.
I guess
Well,
I
well,
have
what-
is prior to any planning to just let us know, because we'd obviously want to do locates to make sure we're not gonna punch a hole.
I was just going to say that. That's exactly what I was going to say. Before we'd ever do anything, I'd bring something in and give it to Mr. Headley.
Yep.
A little site plan of.
Sure.
I'll talk to Mr. Sweel, see what he thinks, and I would bring that in, and then you guys can discuss it further.
Great.
If now the consensus is, at least I can call this lady and say, it looks pretty good.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Go ahead with it, yes.
Yep.
And again, hopefully we'll see you on Memorial Day. Thank you for your attention, and have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, Dwayne. You as
Oh,
well.
and congratulations to the retiree. I know her.
All right, that was the only one on open forum. We'll move on to consent agenda, items 1 through 6.
Move approval?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Monty, present the retirement award to registered nurse Chloanne Wegman for 21 years of service with Benton County.
Is he gonna be Jacqueline or Bob?
Jacqueline.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jacqueline.
Yeah,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, yes, please join me in cheering on Chloanne as we're wishing her congratulations with her upcoming retirement. She ends with us on Friday, June 2nd, and it's really with bittersweet and mixed emotions. We know we're certainly going to miss Chloanne a lot. Just want to be able to honor her and celebrate her and all of her career achievements as she counts down to her retirement. For over 4 decades, Chloanne's been a dedicated nurse providing excellent care and service to others, nearing 21 years of those here at Benton County, with 23 years of nursing and prior patient care. During her time here at Benton County, Chloanne worked with children and youth with very unique and special health needs. She worked with babies and individuals in our county born with birth defects and hearing loss. She's done our disease prevention and control, including working through both H1N1 and COVID-19, which is pretty remarkable. She's made an impact in so many lives throughout her career, but also we've been able to see firsthand the relationships that she's built with our team and the impact she's made throughout our county. On top of being a wonderful nurse, she's been a great friend, confidant, coworker, and teammate to all. So really excited to wish her and support her in her retirement, especially as we cherish the remaining weeks that we have with her here. So big congratulations, Chloanne.
Congratulations. I have a little something for you, Chloanne, if you'd come to the front and we'll take a photo too, please. You absolutely can. Congratulations for your 21 years in Benton County. We really appreciate everything you've done. My honor to award you this clock. Thank you. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you. Thank you.
You're gonna stay out there. I'm gonna do one too.
Can't separate yet. Who should we have first?
I'll go. 1,
Okay.
2, 3. Perfect.
Great. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to presentation by Northland Reliability Project. Monty.
Yep. Please come on up.
Morning.
Do you have a flash drive? Yeah, let's go ahead and go ahead and just plug in.
So that's what we gotta start.
Yep, this looks
And
good.
flash drives,
Okay.
huh?
Yours is still
I'm at 9% right now, complete. I'm at 10%, complete. Don't worry about it. I'll remember to do this at home.
A bunch of maps and stuff here
You
as
have
well.
some-
Again.
I can do that for you if you wanna go ahead and,
All right.
what you got, each one, okay.
Yeah, just have people put here together. Thanks.
Okay.
Good morning.
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 I'm Brian Hunker with Great River Energy as a transmission permitting project manager. And I had the opportunity to present to you guys back in January. So this PowerPoint isn't going to be too much different than what was previously presented, except for the fact that we did have decided on our preliminary route, which we presented to the public a couple weeks ago, week of May 1st. And so I'll be showing that as well as addressing any questions that you guys may have. So please recall, this is the Northland Reliability Project. It's a new high voltage transmission line being proposed by Great River Energy and Minnesota Power. So it's going to be co-owned and co-maintained. So the transmission line extends from the Iron Range substation near Grand Rapids down to a new substation near the Cuyuna Riverton area outside of Brainerd, down to the Benton County sub outside of St. Cloud here, and then to a new substation called the Big Oaks sub. Big Oaks sub is actually being built by Xcel Energy as a part of their Alexandria to Big Oaks project. So this project is, as our generation resources are transforming away from coal and into more renewable sources such as wind and solar, we do need to provide voltage stability for the grid, as well as this project will enable the grid to carry increasingly more load and flexibility of our generation resources. So it's going to be able to carry more and different types of generation. So kind of think of it as I would say a energy transfer from central Minnesota to northern Minnesota and then vice versa. This project came to be through MISO, which stands for Mid-Continent Independent System Operator. And they're the grid operator for, actually they have two segments up in northern Minnesota, northern Midwest of the U.S. and then the southern Midwest of the U.S. So they have 18 projects that are scattered from North Dakota all the way over to Michigan and then down into Iowa, Illinois, Indiana. Our project is the one highlighted here in blue. And all of these projects are actually interconnected together. They're not islands. So, for example, the Jamestown to Ellendale project is connected to the Big Stone South sub. And so all of these projects together will help to increase the voltage stability of the grid, increase capacity, flexibility, etc. Think of our project in two main segments. We have segment 1, which extends from Iron Range down to Benton County, and then segment 2, which is Benton County down to Sherco and Big Oaks. So segment 1 is the new high voltage transmission line. It's going to be a double circuit 345 line, roughly 140 miles long. And that's going to be sited next to or adjacent to existing transmission lines that are on the landscape. So again, that goes from Iron Range down to a new sub at Riverton and then down to Benton County. Iron Range and Benton County will also be expanded as a part of this project. Segment 2, shown here in green, is a rebuild of 2 existing transmission lines. So we have a replacement of a 20-mile, 230 kV transmission line from Benton County sub down to Sherco. So that 230 line is going to be replaced with the double circuit 345. From Benton County to Big Oaks, there's a single circuit 345 line that'll be replaced to a double circuit 345 line. This slide here talks about the expansions of the substations and then a new sub at Riverton. And then outside of all those subs, the existing transmission is going to be reconfigured to feed into the different bays. So last year we defined, this is our routing process and our public input opportunities. So last year we defined our study area, and I have pictures of each of these on the subsequent slides. That was a fairly large area. We narrowed that down into the route corridor, had public meetings on that back in January. And then took that information from our public meetings, defined our preliminary route, which we had public meetings on those a couple weeks ago. And now we are identifying that proposed route that'll be placed into the certificate of need and route permit application to the Public Utilities Commission. We don't really anticipate too many changes in the preliminary route into our proposed route. There's going to be a few areas where it's going to be narrowed down a little bit, and then just some slight changes as we're working through some engineering concerns. And then we are looking to submit that route permit application in later summer, early fall of this year. Again, this is the study area. Narrowed that into the route corridor. We do have a couple wide areas, so you can see just to the west of Mille Lacs, for example, that goes around South Long Lake and Upper South Long Lake. So we widened it to see if we wanted to go east, west, or in the middle of the two lakes. Now this is the preliminary route. So again, back in the Long Lake area, we decided on a route that would go east around those two lakes. So that's been narrowed down. up at the Iron Range substation, you can still see it's fairly wide in there. That's gonna be narrowed down in our proposed route to the state. So, keep in mind, the preliminary route, that is proposed to the state is can be a fairly wide area. Typically, for our purposes, it's gonna be about 1,000 feet or 500 feet on either side of existing transmission. But the actual right-of-way that we're gonna need is roughly 150 foot wide. So when we secure easements with landowners, it's for that 150 foot wide area. It's not for this full 1,000 foot wide or 1,000 foot wide total width, so 500 feet on either side, or 2,000 foot wide, 1,000 feet on either side, preliminary route. The reason the state allows us to apply for a wider route is to work with landowners on micro-siting that transmission and that center line. This map is pretty hard to see, but a copy of it is in the packet that I provided to you. As you can see here in Benton County, the transmission, our proposed route is pretty much directly to the west of the existing 230 kV transmission line that is out there on the landscape. We will do at Golden Spike Road. You can see the existing transmission comes through there, and we are going to do a little bit of a reconfiguration in that area because the Elk River snakes through there. The Golden Spike Road comes at an angle, and there's pretty close residents right in that area. So it's going to allow us to kind of reconfigure, have a better crossing of the Elk River, better crossing of Golden Spike Road, and then be able to place the transmission in the middle of the existing homes that are out there. So it's pretty hard to see on this map. We do have an interactive map on our website where you can kind of zoom in and take a look at some of that information. So this is our right-of-way needs. This is actually the segment between Iron Range and Riverton. There's two existing transmission lines that are shown as the H-frame structures. Our transmission line, which is shown on the far right-hand side, is the monopole. It's going to be placed on a concrete pier foundation. Conductors, so one conductor or three wires is going to be on one side of the structure. Second conductor is going to be on the other side of the structure. And what you can see in this diagram is that as we follow existing transmission, we are allowed to overlap the right-of-way width. So instead of needing 150 foot wide total width, we were able to narrow that down to and reduce it by 30 to 40 feet. So I'll just say roughly 110 foot. The structures will be offset from one another. From Iron Range down to from Riverton down to Benton County, this is a more representative of what it's going to look like, where there is a H-frame 230 kV structure. Our monopole structure is shown there, and we are able to overlap those rights of way by 30 to 40 foot. So the existing 230 line has roughly 150 foot wide easement. The new transmission line is going to need another 150 foot wide easement, but we can overlap those together. So instead of, say, 300 feet, we'll need closer to 260 or 270 feet. South of Benton County, you can see what we are calling segment A, which is the 230 kV line on an H-frame structure that will be removed and replaced with the monopole structure using the same right-of-way. Segment B, or what we're calling Area B, is an H-frame, that is the monopole structure that will be replaced with another monopole structure. In 2023 here, we plan to continue with finalizing that proposed route for the route permit application, submit the route permit application, continue with public and agency engagement, and then begin some preliminary engineering, land valuation studies, etc. 2024 through 2026, we will continue with permitting, begin environmental surveys, cultural resource surveys, and begin engineering and land rights in earnest. Hope to start construction in 2027 for roughly 4-year construction season. So we anticipate we'll need about 3 winters, especially up north where there's more wetlands and bog. And then in-service date in 2030. Again, for our public engagement, we do have our website that's up and running. All of this information is available on the website, along with an interactive map. People can place comments on that map as well. We did hold public meetings in January, again in May, and we're always open to meeting with people either in person or virtually, however it fits best with their schedule. And again, here's the website. We have a hotline and an email address as well that folks may connect with us on.
Great.
I went through that pretty quick, so.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
Members, any questions, comments?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Kapinski?
what is the overall cost for this project?
Right now, our MISO estimate was about 950 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
So as some of the solar's coming on, you're hearing about storage there, of storage, you know, for electricity. Is there any storage included in any of this, or is it all up to the individual solar farms and that to provide that?
Correct, yeah. There's no energy storage. This is more just about bulk
Transmission.
energy transfer. Correct.
All right, any other questions? Thank you, Brian, appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a great day, thanks for the update.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, our property deal in service here.
Okay.
On the Board Bridge. Could we go to that?
Absolutely, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, sure, thanks a lot. All right, we're gonna jump to the proposed donation of the land near Gordon Bridge. So we presented this, I guess, the concept at the last meeting, and the board asked for some estimation of the cost of conveyance. You can see in my agenda item, the cost is roughly about $2,500 of, and that's for survey work and preparing the plat, and that number came from Jay Whitstock, our county surveyor. They recommend a so-called right-of-way plat as the most affordable and expeditious technique to transfer ownership to the county. And Michelle also chimed in and says, of course, you'd also need a warranty deed recorded and let's see, I believe also a what's called a title commitment. Michelle calls that an O&M, and I believe that's like a search of past the record of ownership to make sure there's no encumbrances and other factors which might present a clean transfer of property from one owner to another. So I met with Mr. Linseth out at the property yesterday afternoon. Just took a few pictures. I want to show you, if I may, kind of sense of where we're at here. So I'll just fly through these pretty quickly. So here we're standing in Mr. Linseth's property looking towards Gordon Bridge. So that's kind of essentially the subject property, at least the first several yards. And moving along. And I believe as I spoke with Mr. Linseth yesterday, his intention would be the donation property would begin kind of right about here where my mouse is, right about there. There's looks like a railroad tie right there. So kind of right in here, and then going to the property boundary adjacent to Gordon Bridge would be the subject property. We sort of walked towards the bridge, and now I'm looking back towards Mr. Linseth's property. You can just see it's mostly trees on the hillside there. And now we've moved out of the trees and looking there at Gordon Bridge, the rip rap that begins. I don't know exactly where the county's right-of-way begins. If you may, on the back, let's see, on the back of your agenda item, if you recall, I'm showing this one, you can see the red triangle. That's a rough approximation of where the boundary is, and that comes off Beacon. I've always been told to be a little cautious about the boundaries you see on Beacon, as they are approximations, they are not exact. So just a little caution there. more towards the bridge. Now we're looking back towards Mr. Linseth property. So this is looking up the hill towards the bridge. More. So this is coming down the side. This would be the south side, I believe, right? Coming down. It's pretty clear that folks are using this as an area for fishing. There's a pretty well-established footpath down there, and there's evidence of people being there because trash being left behind. So pretty clear evidence of that. More shots, more pictures. And this is the other side of the bridge. I think it sounds like, according to Dale, that some people do come down this side too. As you may recall, across the road is a parcel that the county owns and people park there. There used to be a house there and there's parking there. So that's okay. And that's just looking down the slope to the river. So Dale is here. I think if you want to address the board and answer any questions,
Great.
I'll
Yep,
be
thank
happy
you.
to turn the mic over.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my name is Dale Linseth, and I just started thinking about this because there's a lot of parking in the whole parking area. And it's a fairly good-sized parking area, and there's typically, especially this time of year, there's typically cars parked there pretty much all the time. So people walk down, they fish in that area. The access on either side down to where they fish is difficult. And so what I kind of envisioned was, okay, well, just keep the parking area. I mean, maybe even improve it. You could always pave it or something, right? And then a walkable path, probably on the parking area side of the road, because you can park there and then walk down without having to cross the road. Once you get down there, it's all fairly. It's kind of rocky. It's got all the riprap, but people just kind of negotiate it. They do deposit some of their garbage, nothing extreme, but cans and things like that. If you get over towards, now this is where the Little Rock Creek flows into the Mississippi. So if you get down to the Mississippi, there's not much there. There's some riprap. People sit there on the rocks and they fish. By donating that, it's about 100 feet along the Mississippi River. If some of that brush was cut back and it was reasonably improved in that regard, then people could use that area, 100 feet or so, in addition to what's already there, which is really basically underneath the bridge and on the riprap. In the big scheme of things, it would be great to even have in addition to parking, possibly even a place to deposit garbage, possibly an outhouse, maybe. So there's not many places on the Mississippi that you can fish. So this gives people a place to fish, and they do it anyway, right? This would make it more easily accessible, and it would improve that area by the bridge, make it look nice. My motivation for doing this is really threefold. One is to improve the area. Two is to allow access for fishermen to fish there. And three, if I lose some of my property line along the river, I'm hoping my property tax will go down. My wife and I are retired. We're on a we're not even on a fixed small amount of Social Security, but it's our basically retirement savings that we live on, and property taxes just go shoot up every year, and it's kind of like it was kind of painful because I moved from California to Minnesota. We've got grandchildren here. In California, they have this Jarvis Scan initiative, which has been in place for many, many years. When you buy a piece of property, the property tax is locked in until you sell it. Almost every state in the United States has provisions for seniors to reduce their property tax, except for Minnesota. So that's one of my incentives too, is to somehow make it more affordable as we age and as our, and it's not gonna be much, I suppose, but that's not the primary motivation. The primary motivation is to provide a place for fishermen. They don't really use that section of property anyway. So I thank you for letting me present this.
Well, thank you, Dale, for your presentation and for your offer to us. And I don't know, members, any questions for Dale or any comments?
Not for Dale, but I think if we go into this venture, which I'm assuming, my opinion, we probably will. I think, Monty, we should be looking at the Rice Sportsman's Club and the Sauk Rapids Sportsman's Club to see if we can have a joint venture together for improvement down there for fishing.
We could probably push it, Mr. Chair, we could probably push it for the park board to initiate that maybe,
And that'd probably be a good start,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
right.
But I guess today we're just looking for any sort of direction. Is the board interested in pursuing the conveyance of the property to the county? Are you comfortable with the method that was recommended by our surveyor?
Members?
Yep.
I'm good.
Yep, I'm good.
I think you got consensus for that.
Sure. Thank you very much. Right. I guess the possible development that's to be continued at
Sure.
some later point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once we own
Make
it.
sure we explore those issues, like you said, with park commission
Yeah.
and so on. I think at a minimum, of course, you probably want a trash can out there, so give people a place to chuck their stuff rather than leaving it behind.
The park board had some trash bins made up and put down in Benton Beach and at Bend of the River. So maybe, I don't know if we got any extras or not, but.
We can figure that out.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure we can always come up with something more. It's my thoughts talking to Commissioner Johnson. Like probably, it'd be nice if property manager could sweep or the park staff, 2 or 3 times a summer to pick up stuff. The hope, I guess, if you put a trash can there, people would put it there rather than just leaving it behind.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so we'll work with our surveyor on the conveyance, and that's our first order of business, and then we'll address the possible development, clearing, improvements later.
Great. Thank you again, Dale. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dale.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Yep.
All right, move on to consider a letter of support for an East St. Cloud Cop House.
Mr. Chair, if I may, could I possibly turn this over to Commissioner Heinen to address?
Sure, let me get my computer. Okay, so this letter of support was drafted for the Cop House for all of us, St. Cloud, Stern, Benton, Stern, Sherburne, just to go ahead and for support of this facility that they want to put up on the east side, St. Cloud. We have no monetary money into it or anything, just a letter of support for this facility. And that's what they're asking.
And this particular letter is also presented to Stearns and Sherburne.
That
County
is
boards, you're
correct.
saying?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's distributed around all the area of St. Cloud, the vendors and everything else too.
Okay.
You can read into Centric Care and everybody else involved. So they're just looking for this letter of support from Benton County.
Sure. Members, any
East
questions?
side.
Pretty straightforward.
It is.
We have a motion to accept it?
So moved. Oh, go ahead.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right. Motion and second to accept the draft letter for the East Side St. Cloud Cop House in support of it. Any other questions, comments?
Just so you know, it will not be called the Cop House.
Okay.
It'll be a different name put on the facility.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. All right, Monty, consider the draft agenda for city, township, and county meetings on May 22nd.
All right, well, on the back of your agenda item is a draft agenda. And I put items that I heard at our last board meeting, plus probably a couple others that popped into my head to put here. So looking for your input, changes, revisions to this agenda, and then we would email it out today and US mail it out as well.
Mr. Chair, I think this is a good start of the draft for the first time we're holding this.
Yep.
And I think too, I mean, from my opinion, this is gonna be a fairly informal get-together
Yep.
and an opportunity for townships to lay out some of their individual concerns or questions too, so.
We had some discussion at your last board meeting about assigning agenda items to either board members or staff, so we at least going into the meeting, we know who's going to address that issue. Is that possible? We could take care of that, what matter of business today, decide who. As you may have seen, I know that Chris is unable to attend, and nor is Roxanne able to attend. So, is it probably fair to say that Commissioner Gopinski will handle the broadband update?
I was wondering, would it be possible that we could talk about this after, or kind of put down and get it over to you?
Could we assign it after the meeting? Or do you want it done here?
That is up to you. If you,
Let's do it
whatever
after.
you're comfortable
I
doing.
think, let's do it after.
Yeah.
If that's
Let's have
okay. We'll have
conversations
some
about
conversation about who's
this,
doing what.
yeah.
Okay, okay. So did you see anything that's missing that we should add to this agenda or remove at this point?
No, I think it's a good
Because
start.
I was hoping to email it out to the town clerks and the city administrators today.
Yep, and we can do that.
Yeah.
So that's okay to do
Yep.
that? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right,
From my perspective, I think we just want it to be interactive.
sure.
Make sure that the cities and townships feel like, you know, they can get some information out to us on what they've got going on, any concerns,
Right.
so.
You know,
Okay. I
Mr.
think-
Chair, instead of just assigning everything, we've got a lot of knowledge, all of us, in a lot of these
Yeah.
areas that just feed off each other too.
I thought it might be useful to at least go into the meeting and have some sense of who
Yep.
was
Some
gonna
plan.
the issue
Yep.
rather
Yep,
than
we can do that.
trying to do that on the spot.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And I know Amanda's confirmed that she will attend.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she'll provide an economic development update, so she's got it on her calendar.
I guess
Okay.
she's number 6 then.
Yeah. All right.
All right, looks good, we'll send out, I believe the last thing I have is the budget development guidelines and calendar. So I'm gonna switch to this. I don't use this much anymore, let's see if it works. Give me just a second. Alrighty, let's just zoom up a little bit. Okay. Alright. Here we are on May 16th, getting things going. So these are my proposed dates for you all. And probably one to focus in right away is when budget presentations occur. That's usually a week in August. And I am suggesting that this year those would occur the week of August 21st. The week of August 21st. So typically, it's been 3 half-day sessions. It could be morning, it could be afternoon. But usually takes about 3 half-day sessions to get all of the departments through and outside agencies through. How's that looking?
So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the 21st.
I see
What?
the 24th is Tri-County Solid Waste, so. that
You know,
would-
you wouldn't, wouldn't necessarily ask you to schedule those today. I
good.
just wanna get a
Yes.
sense, is that week gonna work?
I guess, yeah, that, you know, it's better that we look now if there's anything scheduled.
I think we should get it scheduled.
If you
today.
want to, go right ahead.
Or
yeah.
we should block that week with the exception of a day, if anybody's got days that they can't, that they know of right now.
So what would seem to be the most workable 3 days of that week then?
For me, it would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Anybody
Yes.
else?
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Got it, all right.
8 to noon.
Yep.
Good, okay. That's good to know. So, and then if I jump ahead a little bit here, is, other key dates on your calendar then would be Proposed budget and levy adoption would occur September 19th. That's your second meeting in September. I've confirmed with one of our board members that that's going to work okay.
Okay.
And then moving on ahead, truth of taxation would be December 7th. That's, I think that's a Thursday. I don't recall exactly if it's a Wednesday or Thursday.
It's a Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. And of course, we have to move our meeting that week because of the AMC conference, so that'll be at 6 p.m. Thursday, December 7th. That's also, we always have made that your regular board meeting too.
Yep.
So kind of combine things so you don't have two meetings that week. And then final budget levy adoption would occur December 19th, the last meeting of the year. So hopefully those dates all work for you all.
Yep.
Most of the other dates just affect departments, as they're doing their base budgets and revenue estimates and so on. I started a couple of years ago doing an in-person budget kickoff meeting. And that's going to happen on May 30th. Our in-person budget kickoff meeting. That's with departments. That's with the department folks, the budget contacts. So I just want to make sure those dates that affect you all are going to work.
I think we're good.
So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that week of August 21st. Okay, excellent. Moving on to budget guidelines, the budget process. I'm proposing it more or less would be similar how it has been in the past, where departments prepare their what we call base budget estimates, and then they turn those in to me. We get those in the system, and if they have increases that they're requesting, I meet with them and try to understand the basis for those increases. The budget developed guidelines have permissible reasons you could increase your base budget, and if I may, let me jump to those. Those are on maybe page 2, and these items 5A through F. These are the same we've used the last few years as permissible reasons for what we call a base budget increase. So, for example, if you're in the midst of a multi-year contract which has an inflator, that's a permissible one. If a joint powers, for example, the library, that's going up. That's, of course, permissible. A local match for, we must increase a local match. Again, it's when we have an existing obligation. The one that I think probably we see used a lot is probably D and E. So, for example, in human services, if it's your costs are based upon the number of clients, your caseload, that's one we often see. Let's just say, for example, a good example would be out-of-home placement, where you're seeing that if you're seeing more kids placed, that would be one that would drive the cost going up in that area. E is often used, for example, like let's just say fuel costs going up, or the cost of culverts, things of that nature. So commodity costs that are outside the control of the department. And the goal there is you want to maintain the same level of service, but you recognize you do have some costs that are going up. So those are the ones that I think probably departments probably use the most is D and E. And I will say, I mean, I think this year I'm going to be pretty, I guess I'll use the word aggressive in questioning these base budget increases and explore, do we in fact need these? Sometimes what I often do is I'll look back at the prior actuals, and let's just say they way underspent their prior budget, but you see an increase over the current year budget. Well, if you way underspent a prior year, isn't there some cushion flexibility in there to cover this increase? So that's oftentimes a technique I use is let's look at the actuals. I'd like to go back if I can to the first page, and I say probably the more substantive stuff is really the first section. And of course, if you disagree with anything I've written here, please tell me, because really this is in essence your message to departments of what you're expecting. So I say here is that we have a goal of keeping the levy increase to not more than 5%. That was a theme I heard last year. So I continued on this year, is that we have a goal of not more than 5%. We're still trying to get that tax rate down to be more competitive, more in the middle. The latest information I had from Mike is we're number 26. We used to be number 6. That hasn't been updated in a bit, and I've asked Matt Massman to send me the latest one. If I get something soon, I'll update this, but the latest I have is we're 26th highest. And this, I would say the third paragraph down is probably one of the most important ones, is it sort of recognizes, look, folks, after we fund the COLA that's in all of our labor agreements, the 2.75, step increases, and health insurance, you've already consumed a 5 to 6% increase. You've already done that. So if the goal is to keep that increase to 5% or less, there's just not going to be a lot of room for new stuff, new positions, new programs, what have you. So it's a message to departments of, hey, let's have some restraint, please, in what you ask for. There just isn't going to be a lot of room for these things. I do go on to say, and I believe it's in this paragraph right here, that the budget process is a time for departments to tell you what they need. So they need to articulate what their issues are, their challenges are, and their needs are, but they also need to keep in mind some level of restraint. So, for example, it doesn't make sense to come here and ask for 10 new people. It isn't going to happen. So please keep that in mind. That's the message to them of trying to exercise some restraint when they're thinking about new funding. So that's the departments have the opportunity in what we call the policy issue phase. As you may recall, departments present those base budgets, and I take a look at those, and I give you that big book. It's got the base budget. And then departments can also request new stuff that isn't in the base budget. And that's what you hear mostly in budget presentations, is what we call policy issues. I'll readily admit, I stole this idea that when I think I've told people this before. It's a process that was used at a place I used to work out in Arizona, at City of Tempe. They had the base budget and then policy issues. So none of this is original, so don't. It's all a ripoff from where I worked before. So, I think if I can just take step it back is, when I first started here, the county board was getting these stacks of green bar paper. I kid you not, this thick, and they were going over every line by line by line by line, and the budget process had become a 9-month ordeal. And it was, in my opinion, it was out of control, and it was dominating way too much time. And again, I thought about, hey, this process that I'd used before to try and move the focus to the bigger picture, the bigger things, and kind of take care of the base budget between departments and myself, and then ask departments to focus on really what we call the policy issues. But some departments, when they come visit you, they won't have any policy issues. And I think it's okay to dig into the base budget if you wish to. So if you see some line going up and it's like, what's going on there? That's totally fine, I think. And I ask departments to be ready to talk about any base budget increases, especially larger ones. So it doesn't mean like, don't worry about the base budget. You're certainly, of course, please, if you see something there that raises, you want to draw attention to, please do that. So, I think that's it. There is one thing that is a little, I'm adding here that's a little bit of a new thing. It's on your last page. It's under the budget presentations. You can see this area in red. It says, and new for 2024. Please prepare a list of your department's top 5 to 10 goals for the upcoming 12 months. We recently did department head performance evaluations, and in the past, those have included some discussion of goals. We didn't do that this time, but I was thinking, the budget presentations probably would be a really good place for some brief discussion of each department's goals for the upcoming 12 months. I think it can add some nice substance to those budget presentations, because oftentimes, a department will come in and it's like, it's 2 minutes, I have no changes, and it's, okay, next. And I thought, well, it might be nice to add a little substance to these budget presentations for a bit of review of what the department's goals are for the next 12 months. So I'm proposing that we add this to the agenda for those meetings and ask departments to come prepared to talk about their top 5-10 goals, each area. So give you a sense of kind of what they see on the horizon for the next year. So that's something that's new for this year. Jazz up those presentations just a little bit.
All right, members, any questions on this budget guidelines?
No, pretty simple, I guess.
Pretty straightforward.
It'll be another interesting year.
Just some consensus on it, Monty, or you need a motion?
Yeah, I was just looking for feedback today. These will be on your consent agenda at your next meeting for formal adoption.
Okay.
And, that's just looking for any feedback or changes today.
I guess I
good.
like, the proposals, I like, the 5% or less, I would go. And I thank Monty because we're doing the same thing tonight at the library, and it's his proposal there too.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's right. They use that base budget. Yeah, that's right.
We use the same thing, and it's gonna start tonight.
We better get the copyright
Okay.
insurance put
right.
together.
All right, thank you, Monty.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna turn it over to the Human Services Board Chair, Commissioner Heinen.
Thank you. We'll now call over the Human Services Board. Approve or amend the agenda. Bob, do you have anything to add?
No changes.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Approve or amend the Human Services meeting minutes of May 2nd, 2023. Motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I oppose, motion carries. Consent agenda item 1, consider the Bridge World Language Center Incorporated contract. What would you like to do with that?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Sorry, I'm having a moment here. Got a motion and a second on the table. Any discussion on this item? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. A regular agenda item. Bob, consider the contract between Benton County Human Services, Public Health, State of Minnesota Department of Human Services.
How can you be here and there at the same time?
I don't know. I'm gonna ask Jacqueline to come up and talk about this contract.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, Commissioners, again.
Good morning.
So Benton County Public Health would complete, congratulate, and educate checks with our tobacco retailers that are licensed by Benton County. So we do 11 checks in total, and then would provide education back to those retailers. This is just an opportunity for us to receive some funding back to the county for the work that we're doing around that. About $550 in total. I think it's about $50 per education check that we do. So we're just looking today for approval of the plan agreement between MDH and ourselves.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Bob, you have anything else? Or Jacqueline?
No, unless you have any questions for me.
I just
Any
got,
questions?
Bob, can I,
Go ahead.
one question, I got a comment. Bob, are you gonna stick around for a minute? I need to talk to you.
I sure can.
Oh, okay.
I'll watch on, what is it called here?
Go-to meeting.
Go-to meeting.
Go-to meeting.
And I'll stop back when you guys are done.
Anything else for Bob? If not, we'll adjourn the Human Services Board at 9:59 and turn it back to our board chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Heinen. We'll reconvene our regular board meeting. Roxanne. Sierra. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. In front of you, you have a SCORE application. Generally, these are run through the Solid Waste Advisory Committee and then sent to the consent agenda. However, this applicant has a project that has a deadline sooner than the next meeting, so he was requesting an approval or denial for today. The SWAC did recommend a full approval last night.
All right.
So this, Mr. Chair, this gentleman is doing a Eagle Scout project, and that's what this is all about.
All right. We have a motion?
I'll make that motion to
Okay.
approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve the score grant application as recommended by the SWAC. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Thank you, Sierra.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Chris, engineers update.
As if you haven't heard from me enough. So we had a very lengthy work session yesterday. So, but just for an update today, so we have road construction projects starting on Monday, a week from yesterday, 21 and 56 near Rice. Contractor's going to start out replacing entrance pipes. They'll be working on that for probably 2 weeks on both 21 and 56. There are a couple of what we call centerline pipes, and we say that because they cross under the center line of the roadway, which would result in full road closures. Obviously, the road remains open to those residents that live along that road, but we're encouraging, if you don't live along that road, find a different way around and avoid that area. Those 21 is a full depth reclamation project, and what you'll see out there, which is a little bit different than what we've done most recently, we've done this before, to get the strength that we need for that roadway, we'll be actually placing, or the contractor will be placing class 5 on top of the bituminous surface, and then with their reclaiming machines incorporating that and grinding that in together. We need that to get a little bit of extra depth and get the strength that we need on that roadway. So that's why we're encouraging, if you're using those 21 or 56 as a through road to get to Morrison County, you will be faced with difficulties of trying to get through. So, yes.
A little bit off subject, but would you be doing the same thing with 62 or not?
I can't recall. I don't think 62, I don't know off the top of my head.
That wasn't a reclamation, that was a mill and overlay?
No, well, we are doing a full depth reclamation.
Right.
So sometimes if we know that we have the existing class 5 gravel base below the pavement, and there's enough depth there that when we incorporate that with the bituminous, we can get enough strength to do that. 21, due to the truck traffic and the traffic volumes, the existing gravel was not enough, plus 4 inches of new bituminous on top did not get us to that 10-ton design.
Okay.
So we're having to actually add gravel to that. So I don't recall off the top of my head what 62
That's
is.
fine. I just thought maybe you knew.
Yeah, so that's kind of on the construction side. That's going to keep us busy starting next week through most of the summer. We did just bring on board yesterday 2 summer interns. So they'll be able to help out on those projects as well. They're college students right now in civil engineering, so we're going to get them exposed to some civil engineering projects. The downside with interns, we always do enjoy their time because they do help us out with some much needed and valuable work, is that by mid-August, they're usually going back to college, wherever they're from. And there's usually quite a bit of work to get done even in mid-August by contractors. So that's the downside of them. But we'll use them and we'll value their time while they're here. On the maintenance side, spring load restrictions in for us tomorrow or tonight if you want to, at midnight tonight. So you'll see maintenance crews out and about starting to remove those load posting signs on our roads. So, and then who's not removing signs today is back out crack filling our roads. That's kind of the maintenance activities for the remainder of the week, is removing signs and continuing crack filling and pothole patching. One thing I do want to acknowledge, and we appreciate this too, is the many groups that have come in to pick up garbage along our highways. We do have Adopt a Highway program where different organizations have adopted stretches of roadways, and thankful for the warm weather, they've been out and picking up trash on our roadways, and we'll give them bags and vests so they can be safe out there when they're working next to the roadway and in the roadway ditches. But we do appreciate that. That really does help with our roadways. There is all kinds of trash, as you can imagine, in our roadway ditches. So that's a valuable work as well. And if anybody is listening and has a group that's interested, contact our office. Erica in our office manages that program, and we'd be happy to talk to you and find an open stretch of road that you can pick up garbage. What most people don't realize maybe too is that we pay for the sign. So if you want to adopt a section of roadway, we take that out of our maintenance budget. We'll get the blue signs and put your organization on there and put them up on the roadway. So when you're out there, you know, passing motorists can see what group's out there picking up garbage. The downside is if you're not picking up garbage, then passing motorists can see who's not picking up garbage. Just keep that in mind if you want to adopt a stretch of roadway.
Mr. Chair. So, Chris, do we go back and pick the garbage up, or do we?
Yeah, so that's okay if you fill up a bag, tie it off, leave it right there, not next to the roadway, but off to the shoulder, and maintenance will come through the next day and pick them up. A lot of groups come on weekends, so it'll be Monday morning, but our maintenance will send a truck out there, pick up and collect all that, and then we bring it back to our yard where we have that big roll-off dumpster that's strictly for adopted highway garbage.
Because I know, you know, the township puts a dumpster at my place, started, you know, many years ago before I was on the county board. And couple of the groups dropped the garbage off at the, you know, it's $4,000 that paid for this dumpster. So they'll drop it off there instead of, you know, if we could get that out there, you know, if every township could take it to their town hall or something, we wouldn't have to run around and pick up the garbage. And it's usually 4-H clubs, Lions clubs, something like that.
Are you saying the people who are picking the ditches
Yeah,
get it to the township?
I can't
halls?
remember who the lady was that called and wanted to know if the dumpster was there yet, because their 4-H club is picking up the road. They don't want to put it on the side of the road. They want to get
And
rid of it.
I can tell you historically, because we do it, I wouldn't mind if it's just the bags, but the stuff you find
Oh, I know.
wouldn't be real fun sometimes to haul to the township dumpster.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But if they're score grant dollars, that's nice, because this dumpster is expensive.
It
I just saw one in the auditor warrants, the cost of Republic Services in there, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So that'd be a great thing to look into. Maybe it's such a thing where we're still picking it up, but it gets dropped at the township dumpsters.
Yeah. You know, if you had the dumpster, oh, you mean they could pick up like one area and go
Yep.
to Mayo Lake Township
Right.
and dump it, you know, and dump it off there, yeah. They usually leave it at my place probably for most of the summer until it gets full, then they come pick it up.
Sure.
But
But
you know,
they're score
big
grant
items.
dollars, though.
Yeah, it's score grand dollars. I mean, washers, dryers, tires.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Everything.
That's the thing. And when I can see why I wouldn't expect a 4-H group or a FFA group to pick up a washer and, you know,
Hey.
and yeah, we've seen that too. Load that up into a township. That's why we're happy to pick those things up. But
yeah, I mean, they brought a washer that, you know, took 3 kids to get it off the pickup, you know.
Right.
And I make it knowing that anything that's really heavy in that, put it in front of the dumpster and I'll take the skid loader and throw it in.
Sure.
Then they don't have to, and it works out quite well.
Good.
yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, it's a thing. We don't want to make it too difficult because we do appreciate this. You know, it's a volunteer service, so
Right, yeah.
we're appreciative for all the help we can get. So.
One question, a little bit side note, but we're gonna have some discussion after about maybe talking about our meeting coming up with townships and cities and kind of who's gonna take what subjects. I know that you did send out an email to us because you're gonna be gone.
Yeah.
One item I saw in here that maybe if you're willing to put a few bullet points together is update on county ditch projects.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I'd be happy to talk about that one, or Commissioner Pop or whoever, but if we had a little bit of guidance on some of that information, I think that would be helpful. I don't know, Chris, without looking back at your email, one of the items on here too is our county road program for 23, and so we can kind of touch base on that too, but it would be nice
Okay.
to have some highlights maybe.
Sure.
If,
Okay.
you know, on those areas that deal with your department, if you could maybe throw an email quickly together with some highlights and bullet points for us, that would be appreciated, and then we can just cover that.
All right. Yeah.
You're
no
not
problem.
gonna be there. It
Yep.
looks like item 7, county road program, roll with township bridges, jointly bid county and township projects, highway within city limits. I know that you've talked to some of that already on your email, and then update on county ditch projects.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that because now we know the kind of agenda set. I can
Yep.
definitely put together some bullet points on each of those topics.
Great, and then if that drives some questions, then hopefully we can answer them. If not, we're gonna send them to you.
Sure. At least gives you an out. Say, that's a Chris question. You're gonna have to wait on that answer.
All right, anything else for Chris?
Sure. Are they gonna just continue to go like from county road project to county road project?
Yeah. So that pipe crew, Hellman, construction out of Foley here. We'll be doing all the pipes. So once they get through 21, they'll go to 56, and from 56 they'll go to the I don't recall. They gave us a schedule, but yeah, they're just going to continue working on all our county roads. Which,
And that would be a good information to have too.
Yeah, because
yeah.
Provide that schedule. Obviously, it can change, but it gives some idea.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. I know with press time and things, I think things are going to start progressing faster than what we'll be able to get into newsprint every week. So
Sure.
we have an interactive construction status map on our website that we'll keep updating, and I think we'll try to use social media as much as we can on those changes are happening. Road
That's
closures
good to
are
know
happening.
too. Include that.
Yeah.
I mean, we can share that information with them.
The biggest question I've been getting is everybody wants a 10-ton road now. They used to ask for 9-ton, and all of a sudden they've changed to 10-ton. I don't know if they figured they ask for 10 and they'll get 9 or.
Life's a negotiation.
Yeah,
You ask
right.
for more than what you need. No, that's I think if you go way back to 2008 legislature when that gas increase happened, then that's when the law changed. It said every paved road shall be a 10-ton road unless posted otherwise. So for a lot of us, it's taken until now to even get caught up those existing paved roads to 10-ton because, legislation just can't make everything stronger by stamping a piece of paper. So up to that point, the standard was 9-ton if you could reconstruct it. So state aid rules did allow us some time, all of us counties to build only up to 9-ton. But you were supposed to come back and overlay to get that extra inches to get it to 10 tons. What was happening in reality, if you built it today to only 9 tons, most budgets weren't ever allowing you to get back to it in a timely fashion to bring it up to 10 ton before it needed to be reconstructed again.
Right.
So I think a lot of us have just adopted policies. If we're going to do it, just get it to 10 ton day one that you open it and move on. Go to the next road then.
There was a big shout out when I was coming to the board meeting this morning from Governor Walz was on with somebody on the radio on CCO radio, and he did say that they're proposing a large amount of money to go to transportation, and he said we know that rural counties, the counties do a a good job at a much lesser cost to do a mile of road than what the MnDOT does. So he did put a shout out to counties on how good a job they did.
Well, that's good. I think a lot of us in this part of the state, when we hear a lot of money for transportation, we look at the dollars that we get compared to what transit and metro gets. Once it dwindles down. So that's good to hear those kinds of things because obviously I believe that we do it a lot better here. But.
Yeah.
Anything else for Chris? Thank you, Chris. If you're not in a hurry, I'd like to catch you quickly after the.
Yep. Yeah, I'll stick around to the end.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, commissioner meeting updates. Who'd like to start?
I will.
Okay.
I had Micah, and it was pretty much all about the bills that are going through, and there was a few signed, but nothing of significance that would have any impact on county program aid, stuff like that. That's still in the works, trying to get more money. Public safety did get signed, I see, or get passed, and it probably will be signed today or tomorrow with significantly more money. But a lot of that I understand is one-time money. It's not ongoing money. So it seems like a little bit to me that Micah and AMC are working more closely to push some of these things through than what they have in the past. So I think that might be good. The more you got on board, the more you're going to get usually. And that was the only thing I had.
How about if I'll pop across? Commissioner Schlangen, you ready?
Sure. The First Solutions meeting. Talking about budgets and grants. Minden Township meeting. They got a property assessor. Be working on Shadowwood Drive. RSVP, they have the 50th anniversary for AmeriCorps on this Thursday. And very busy with all their projects to keep seniors busy. Then I went to the Northland Reliability Project and the SMI route. Council on Aging, we had our annual meeting. And just working on budgets and making sure they have all the food for services and everything they need for those seniors. And it doesn't look like they're gonna get a whole lot from the state this year. Subsidized housing. Working with rental assisting, loans, applying. They're still working on the bills for this year, or they're probably done by now. Supposed to be done pretty soon.
Anything else?
I think that was it.
Okay, Commissioner Heinen?
Cows.
Yeah, we had a lot of cows, of course. Career Solutions, we're still looking for a financial auditor, so we're sending out some more RFPs. Yeah, so this has taken up a lot of my time. I've had a lot of meetings, just about daily, trying to resolve the issues we're having with Career Solutions. I also had, let me get to my calendar here, Shack Executive Committee. That's more of an informal information committee, so I can learn more about everything that's going on. Criminal justice, Jared, you're gonna wanna talk about that probably? We sat in on a criminal justice meeting about the jail county inmates, Huber. Our biggest issue is placement of people, mental health. You know, what is there, 129 openings right now? And we have our one bed space, and we're using 2 of them, I think it is, Jared, right at this point in time. And we are having to house people outside.
We're way up north on one right now.
Yeah, so this is a serious issue that we will be contending with for a very long time. And it's just not our county, all the other counties are having the same issues too. Let's see here, and Jarrett, you can do a follow-up. And that's, we had the SCORE meeting last night. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Kapinski?
Obviously, we had our GLT cow. I was not able to join the MICA meeting. We had, fully St. Cloud Fiber. We've had a couple meetings in there, so that's still a work in process. Getting back to the criminal justice, there really wasn't a ton of updates, but the biggest thing is the beds are becoming an issue, and more counties are utilizing these beds, so I think, and we brought this up before, we're gonna have to start looking at, potentially options there, whether that's increasing potentially a bed or buying more shares in that, so. Go ahead.
So even the people that have beds, they're still trying to, even us, being we have a bed and they're so overfilled, there's no guarantee that our space is there because of the amount of people that they're housing everywhere.
Mr. Chair, well, I thought that was the option of the contract.
Well, it was, but when they
I would have an issue with that then.
Well, when they are full and the beds are full, they have to find a place for that other individual that's in our spot. That could take up to 30 days or 60 days.
But that means if our bed is not, but if we have one there, then we have a problem. But if we have a person that needs and our bed ain't full, they have 30 days to remove that person and to make room for us, or we have to find someplace.
No, they have to make room for us.
Yeah, okay.
I brought that up, at one of our, meetings with the Anoka, program, and they brought up the fact that, well, yes, we do have a bed, but the reason they're able to keep the costs down is because they're able to sell these beds to other people when we're not using them.
Wow.
So then
Yeah.
if our bed gets used, it's up to them to find us a bed,
Correct.
It is,
but
yeah.
it
Okay.
could take 30 days.
Yeah.
So what they would do is the individual or somebody in that facility would have to be placed somewhere else,
Okay.
and then we'd get our
So
bed back.
they'd really find a spot for
They'd
that
find a
person.
spot for a different person, correct?
Okay.
This is, even if we had 5 beds, we're in the same scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
Same position.
All right.
I think it would behoove us to start looking at that option. I know it's more money, but the cost of placing these people, because we still gotta go visit them from a county perspective
That's
too.
always been that way.
Yeah.
So if they find us a spot up in Roseau,
Yeah, we're traveling,
yeah, okay.
so, other than that would be about it.
All right, I had the opportunity to tour the facility here with Jeff Dingman and the representatives from the city, Sarah Brunn, the administrator, Councilman Gondik, and Councilman Voigt were here for about an hour and a half. It was a good tour. They had a lot of great questions, and hopefully we're gonna get some information back to them. One Water, One Plan meeting in Sherburne County. We actually held it down at the Palmer Township Hall last time. Basically, it was a review of the Citizen Advisory Committee results and the Technical Advisory Committee results, and as Commissioner Pop knows, where that goes becomes a very long process. Of course, our GLT and bonding information, appreciate Monty getting Jessica in to give us some bonding opportunity or options there to look at. Of course, our broadband stuff, Commissioner Kapinski talked about. And Planning Commission meeting last week, we had 2 conditional use permits, 1 interim use permit to approve a gravel mine for George Masty. Again, these are 20-year permits now with a 5-year reviews from Department of our Land Services Department. Roxanne did also give us some memos in regards to some existing sites that she went out and reviewed on a 5-year review, and so that seems to be working out very well. And these property owners or gravel pit owners are really happy with that process, that they don't have to come in and constantly renew. You know how well every 5 years comes up pretty fast. So that change has been a good process. That's all I have. Anything else, Commissioner Kapinski?
Couple more things. I did, one of the things that we didn't note is our jail staff seems to be, or our inmates seem to be up.
Okay.
Correct.
So
Okay.
we're actually,
Any idea where? What number?
49 or 50.
I've got 49,
Yep.
49 inmates right now.
Are we housing any from anybody else?
Yep.
All right. So
The
that,
state as well as Stearns, I believe.
and the state pays pretty well, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll have a little more jail revenue there this year.
Yeah, and then
Well,
we
the-
did,
The revenue's great, it's just we gotta fill the positions.
yeah, they're short, that's where I was going next is,
Okay,
and
go
they're short-staffed.
Okay.
And it's hard to keep people and to go through all the training and qualifications to see who's gonna be a good detention officer. It's a lengthy time period, so. And then we did forget to mention our SCORE meeting or our solid waste meeting last night.
All right. Any other comments by commissioners or anything? Committee of the Holes, Monty.
All right. First, it's on your calendar already, but we need to ask if you want to attend. It's the housing study presentation. It's Wednesday, the 24th, 11:30 to 12:30. Who wishes to be registered for this housing study presentation? By show of hands.
I believe Beth already registered me for that.
Commissioner Schlangen? Did you?
Beth, did you register us already?
I think I did.
Yes.
register you.
We sure?
I know you sent me an email saying I was registered for that.
So let's just double check. Who all wants to go? We'll make sure you're registered.
I'm still working on it, but I hope to be there.
Okay.
I think
Commissioner
register
Johnson?
all 5 of us.
Okay, all 5. Great, thank you. Yep. No, I've got an emergency manager train that day. Yep. All right. We've discussed these, but we need to get them into the record, and that is today's tour of Stearns County, the West Side Service Center in White Park. Next is Monday, the 22nd. We'll be touring Sherburne County and Wright County government centers. We'll be beginning at Sherburne County at 9. The board also set the next meeting with GLT as May 30th at 8. May 30th at 8,
Yep.
8 a.m. here in the boardroom.
That's what I have.
30th.
Don't we have labor deal on the
May
22nd?
30th at 8.
We have labor.
Mediation, I believe, is the
23rd.
22nd?
23rd.
23rd,
Tuesday.
excuse me. Okay, yeah.
I did have 8 o'clock for the call with GLC.
Yep,
So did I.
8 o'clock. Must have been someone had something else going on later that day while we started. I don't recall. So, all right. And then the AMC District 5 meeting is going to be June 12th. That's Monday, June 12th, from 8 a.m. to noon. Benton County is the host. It will be at the Sauk Rapids City Hall in their community room.
Oh, it's at the community room now? Okay.
What time was it?
From 8 a.m. to noon. 8 a.m. to noon. Monday, June 12th. And I'll have a counter report for the board chair. I know sometimes in the past they've had the host county board chair give a welcome. I guess we'll see when we get the agenda if they want that. So.
Okay, sounds
Yep.
good.
Usually.
Is there a motion for the cows?
Not quick.
Nope, sorry.
Quickly. So we want to make sure these are on your calendar because we've been missing these in the past, and we want to get them all on your calendar. So these are the BEP quarterly meetings. The next one is July 27th. And these usually start at 7, correct me if I'm wrong, 7:30 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yes, 7:30 a.m. July 27th, October 26th, and January 25th is the next 3 coming up. We just want to make sure these are on your calendars. We'll send some reminders.
October what?
26th.
October 26th and January 25th.
And I believe the January 25th one will be the annual meeting.
Okay, yeah, that'd be the annual meeting, that's right, yep, at 7:30. For the time being, let's assume they're gonna be at the clearing. I think that's worked really well. I think Amanda likes that facility, so unless you hear otherwise, they'd be at the clearing.
Okay.
And
Anything
that's
else?
it.
Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the cows as presented. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Members, anything else? Right, we're adjourned at 10:26.
So if I may, just again, we're going to go over to the West Side Service Center, and Evan and the Stearns County Facility Manager Director will be our tour guides for that facility.
Okay.
I will not be attending.
Okay.
Where is it located?
The Stearns County West Side Service Center, well, it's over by Mills Fleet Farm in White Park.
Were we gonna discuss?
So, you've never been, it sounds like you've never been there?
I haven't been out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, afterwards.
Let me shut off, need just a second, let me shut
okay.
off streaming.
That's okay.
Yep.